One animal on this list kills over 1 million people every year, not in history, every year. It has no teeth, no claws, and you've never feared it once in your life. You've been taught to fear sharks, lions, things with fangs. Real numbers tell a different story, and the gap between the deadliest animal here and everything else is bigger than you think. We're ranking 10 real killers, from genuinely dangerous to the one already near you right now. Let's start at number 10, sharks. Across the entire planet, sharks are responsible for an average of around 6 confirmed human deaths per year. Now, 6 total, worldwide. For an animal with its own dedicated week of television programming every summer, dramatic music, ominous narration, slow-motion fin shots, that's a remarkably unimpressive body count. You're statistically more likely to die from a falling vending machine, a champagne cork to the eye, or your own bedroom furniture tipping over, and yet only one of those 4 things has made an entire generation refuse to go past their ankles in the ocean. Sharks predate trees. They predate Saturn's rings, by some estimates. After all that evolutionary history, the headline they ended up with is 6 people a year. Most of them surfers, briefly mistaken for a seal. Sharks spent 400 million years minding their own business and somehow became the face of human fear, over 6 deaths a year. That mismatch between fear and actual danger only gets worse from here. 6 deaths a year is almost nothing. The next entry already clears that 15 times over, and it's nicknamed after royalty. Number 9, lions. Lions kill roughly 100 people per year, mostly in rural parts of Africa, where human settlements and lion territory directly overlap. The most attacks happen at night, near villages, and are usually linked to lions targeting livestock before encountering a person defending it, not lions deliberately hunting humans the way documentaries imply. The animals doing the killing are usually older or injured individuals who can no longer hunt their normal prey. The king of the jungle nickname wasn't earned through human body count. It came mostly from centuries of European heraldry and one extremely confident Disney movie. 100 deaths a year from the king of the jungle is almost humbling once you realize the title was branding, not a body count. An animal that looks half asleep all day already beats that number 5 times over, without even trying. Number 8, deer. This one catches people off guard, mainly because deer aren't aggressive and almost never attack a human directly. Instead, deer vehicle collisions cause well over 200 deaths per year in the United States alone, plus tens of thousands of injuries that insurance companies have simply learned to expect every autumn. The deer isn't doing anything except standing motionless in the road at the worst possible moment. No fangs, no claws, no ambush, no plan, just bad timing and a total unwillingness to move. Fall is the worst season, since it overlaps with mating season and the time of year drivers least expect wildlife in their headlights. No fangs, no claws, no plan. And somehow that's already double the kill count of an actual lion. At least the deer isn't trying. The next animal looks completely unbothered floating in a pond and is one of the most dangerous large mammals on the continent. Number 7, hippopotamuses. Despite looking like an oversized, slow-moving lawn ornament, hippos are responsible for around 500 deaths per year across Africa. They're extremely territorial around water, surprisingly fast on land for an animal built roughly like a school bus, and more than capable of capsizing small fishing boats without much effort. Tourists underestimate them specifically because they look asleep for most of the day, right up until the exact moment they very suddenly are not. Adult hippos can outrun most humans over short distances, despite weighing as much as a small car, and they're responsible for more guide deaths in parts of Africa than lions, crocodiles, and elephants combined. Looking harmless turned out to be the most effective camouflage on this entire list so far. Hippos at least look intimidating up close once they move. The next entry can sit motionless for hours, and you genuinely won't see it coming at all. Number 6, crocodiles. Crocodiles kill an estimated 1,000 people per year, mostly in parts of Africa and Southeast Asia, where rivers double as the only nearby water source for drinking, washing, and irrigation. Unlike most animals on this list, crocodiles are pure ambush predators built for stillness. Most victims never see the attack coming until it's already happening, often while doing something as routine as collecting water a few feet from shore. They've barely changed in tens of millions of years, meaning the version currently living in a river somewhere is functionally the same design that was already working before most of the planet's other large predators had even shown up. Evolution looked at the crocodile, decided there was nothing left to improve, and moved on, which is a deeply unsettling endorsement. Crocodiles at least announce themselves by existing in the water you're standing in. The next entry quietly wiped out a third of an entire continent without anyone seeing it coming at all. Number 5. Rats. Rats themselves rarely kill anyone through a direct attack, but the fleas they carry caused one of the deadliest events in recorded human history. The Black Death, spread primarily through rat-borne fleas across the 14th century, killed an estimated 75 to 200 million people throughout Europe and Asia, wiping out somewhere between a third and half of Europe's entire population in a handful of years. Entire towns were abandoned. Trade routes shut down. Some historians argue the sudden drop in available labor gave surviving workers far more bargaining power than they'd ever had, meaning somewhere in the distant ancestry of modern labor rights, there's a flea riding on a rat that nobody invited. An animal whose modern reputation is subway platforms and pizza once reshaped the economic future of an entire continent, by accident, through a parasite riding on its back. The Black Death was one catastrophic event, centuries ago. The next entry does comparable damage every single year, quietly, on a schedule. Number 4. Snakes. Venomous snake bites kill an estimated 100,000 people every year, with millions more suffering permanent injuries, nerve damage, or amputations from bites that go untreated in remote areas without medical access. The overwhelming majority of these deaths occur in rural parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, where antivenom is limited, expensive, or simply unavailable nearby. India alone accounts for a significant share of global snakebite deaths, largely due to the overlap between dense rural farming communities and venomous species like the Indian cobra and Russell's viper. Most bites happen at night or during farm work, and a meaningful number of victims survive the bite itself only to lose a limb because treatment arrived too late. The venom isn't really the deciding factor here. Distance to the nearest hospital is, which makes this one of the only entries on this list that's really a logistics problem wearing a biology costume. Snake bites at least come with an obvious warning. The next entry kills through something most victims consider a pet. Number 3. Dogs. Dogs, specifically through the spread of rabies rather than direct attacks, are responsible for an estimated 59,000 human deaths per year, with the overwhelming majority occurring across Asia and Africa, where vaccination programs remain limited or inconsistent. Once rabies symptoms appear in a human, the disease is almost universally fatal, with no meaningful treatment available at that stage, making early vaccination essentially the only real defense. The tragedy here isn't that dogs are dangerous. It's that a fully preventable disease is still killing tens of thousands of people a year, simply because the vaccine doesn't reach everywhere it needs to. This is the only entry on this list where the cure already exists and just hasn't fully arrived everywhere yet, which makes it the most preventable death on this entire ranking. Tens of thousands of preventable deaths is hard to beat. The next entry has been quietly deciding where entire regions of Africa were allowed to live for centuries. Number 2. Tsetse Flies. These small biting flies, found across sub-Saharan Africa, transmit a parasite that causes African sleeping sickness, a disease that, left untreated, is almost universally fatal within a matter of years, as it attacks the nervous system. The disease kills several thousand people annually, even with modern treatment available, and historically, entire regions of the African continent have had their farming practices, livestock movement, and migration patterns shaped around simply avoiding tsetse fly territory. An insect smaller than your thumbnail has, for centuries, quietly decided where millions of people were and weren't allowed to safely settle, without a single person ever electing it to that position. An insect smaller than your thumbnail has shaped more of African economic history than most political decisions ever did, just by making certain land unlivable for cattle. And then there's number 1. Every entry on this list combined doesn't come close to what's next, and it happens without a single roar, growl, or warning sign. Number 1. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are responsible for over 1 million human deaths every single year, primarily through malaria, but also dengue fever, yellow fever, and several other mosquito-borne diseases layered directly on top of each other. A single bite is all it takes to transmit a parasite that, left untreated, can kill an otherwise healthy adult within days. And the vast majority of malaria deaths each year are children under the age of 5. Roughly half the world's population currently lives in an area with some risk of malaria transmission. Some entomologists studying the cumulative impact across human history have estimated mosquitoes may be responsible for the deaths of nearly half of all humans who have ever lived. A claim that's genuinely hard to verify, but isn't comforting either way you look at it. This is the animal from the start of this video. The one with no teeth, no claws, no real strength. That's most likely within 10 feet of you right now, and you almost certainly haven't noticed it. Every other entry on this list combined, Lions, hippos, crocodiles, snakes, dogs. The Black Death itself still doesn't come close to what mosquitoes manage quietly, every single year, without a logo, a theme song, or a single ominous note of music. No fin breaking the surface, no roar in the distance, just a faint, almost forgettable buzz near your ear at exactly the wrong moment. So the next time something with teeth, claws, or a menacing on-screen growl shows up in a nature documentary looking appropriately terrifying, remember that the actual deadliest animal alive right now is most likely somewhere within 10 feet of you, and you almost certainly haven't noticed it yet. It doesn't roar, it doesn't lurk, it doesn't even bother stalking you across an open plain for dramatic effect. It just lands quietly and gets on with its day, which might be the single most effective survival strategy any animal on this planet has ever developed. And absolutely nobody is making a documentary about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you really enjoy it. This is your host, signing out for now.